event.
Yes! Welcome back to Sports and Stories. You thought I was going to get into the Mad Dog there. It's episode 205 of Sports and Sorts. We are live on a Friday morning around 10-ish, as usual.
Friday!
We have some great stuff to talk about today. We are going to get into our Week 3 predictions. The Bri Man might have a bit of a rant today, and we will see how unhinged he possibly gets.
It's going to be an earmuffs rant.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's good to know. That's good. We are preempted. We have been warned what's going to happen. So we'll get into 3 games of the week that we're going to talk about, and also going forward, we're going to be on Mondays. We will be picking for Fridays. We will go back and forth and tell each other who we're going to pick. So we'll each give each other a game, and then we'll pick the Sunday Night Football game. We're always going to do the Sunday Night Football game just because it's primetime TV. We want to talk about that one. It is going to get a lot of eyes on it. So we're going to do that, but then we're going to each pick a game for each other to try and do something to, I don't know, give ourselves the advantage. Like, I want to pick a hard game for you, something that I think you'll have a difficult time with. And then you can pick a game for me that you think I would have a difficult time with. And then we will still have 3. We'll have 3 games picked, but we will only do 2 each a week. Yeah. See what I mean?
Sure.
All right. So right now, the ranking is, I mean, you have, I think you're 6-2, 6 wins, 2 losses, and I'm 4-4. So you are clearly destroying me at the moment. We will still pick Monday Night Football games as well when we do that on Mondays as well. But if you have any chance to check us out, if you're watching right now, please click the little thumbs up. Helps us out. Get the word out. Also, you can hit that subscribe button and pass the word on to other people. Hit the subscribe button. Click the notification bell if you want to be notified whenever we go live. And if you want to go to our Facebook page, that's facebook.com/Shane and the Bri Man, or on Twitter @Shane and Bri Man. Of course, I'm one of the hosts. My name is Shane.
And I'm the Bri Man.
And if you comment during the show, we will put it on the screen. And we got a great show. So let's go.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bri Man.
And I apologize for a couple of things right off the bat. It's always a good way to start the show.
Right.
1, I'm sick. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm going to be coughing a little bit. I apologize if I end up having any coughs on there. 2, I also apologize for this little weird, like, doubling up of audio in the intro. I don't know what's going on with it. I'm trying to fix it. I haven't been able to fix it yet. The only way I can try and really see if it's going to work is when I click go live. And I don't want to be clicking go live all the time and then having you guys think that we keep going live when we're not actually going live. So I'm trying to fix it. Haven't fixed it yet, but hopefully it'll get there.
We're gonna start a GoFundMe to help us fix the audio problems and any other technical difficulties.
We can get a producer. I mean, that's what we need. We need to hire a producer.
We need the judge.
Yeah, unfortunately, he is very busy. He's always very busy. He's doing like music videos and stuff like that now. Is he
like a sneaky millionaire? I feel like he's just.
Oh yeah. Probably. I don't know his exact finances. I mean, he is my brother, but we don't like go into exact details. I haven't checked his bank accounts.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is a good saver.
Yeah, I picture him having this Not like this, like a mansion kind of house, but like a really nice house on the beach. And when you walk in, there's just women in bikinis walking around everywhere. They're not necessarily like there for any specific reason, but they're just there. It's almost like Weekend at Bernie's. Like that's kind of how I picture his lifestyle.
Not at all. Not at all. He's got a very nice house. It's not on the beach, but it's close to work, so he doesn't. I
also see him walking around with just with some kind of a scotch or something, and like an open robe and like boxers. This is awfully specific.
I think you're confusing him with Hugh Hefner.
I got this like Hugh Hefner Weekend at Bernie's
definitely not
of the judge going on there.
No,
but
definitely not. You're definitely really way over the top there.
If it makes you feel any better, I didn't really think that through very much. It just sort of popped in there. So.
Yeah, I clearly, because he is very quiet. He's fairly quiet.
I know he is a very reserved guy.
And he
probably sits at home flipping through baseball cards or something.
No, but he does do a lot of film stuff. Like he films and he does some side projects and movies and stuff like that. And he's also working on. I think he just came out with his first music video. It's music that I don't particularly care for. I don't think the music, the vocals were very great either, but the video was kind of cool. So it's something that he's dabbling in, and he has a good eye for it. So he loves movies too. So it's fun. It's fun to check out. Anyway, let's get into the show. We're gonna start off right out the gate with some football talk, baby. We're gonna get right into the games that we have picked for this week, and I will start because we have the first game is the 1:00 game. It's the Ravens versus the Chiefs.
Probably the game of the week, right?
I like the.
It's not a great schedule.
This week stinks, but I like the Sunday Night Football game because of the matchup and the high-powered. You have this team that's very kind of in your face against a team who just kind of is there but is great, and they're just opposite ends of the spectrum. You have a coach that's very, who's very smart and does a very good job with his players, and then you have another guy who's a rookie kind of head coach, and you have OBJ, you have Jarvis Landry, Landry is he's a good guy. He's a guy that just wants to win, but he's also a little bit outspoken, but it's usually because he wants to win. And then you have Baker Mayfield, who's also he's kind of a hothead. You just have a lot of personalities versus a team that doesn't have a lot of personalities and doesn't really say much. They just get the job done. So I'm thinking that might be the game of the week.
Okay.
I this also being the 1:00 game.
I'll allow it.
Yeah. All right. I think I like that one better. I do think this is going to be a good game, though. I mean, I think you have the Ravens with an exceptional defense. Obviously, Lamar Jackson has been great this year, but he's only played against Miami and Arizona. Their defenses. Not good
competition. He's literally played against maybe the two worst teams in the
Exactly.
Maybe.
And I expect his completion percentage this week to go down. I expect the running plays for him to go up because he's not going to be able to get the ball out as well. I also think that, the Chiefs, even though they've had a ton of plays that are over 20 yards this year, a ton. I mean, I think it's almost like double digits. This secondary is really good. And I think those are going to be tough to come by. But the good thing about the Chiefs is that Patrick Mahomes, he will take what he's given. He doesn't care if he has to dump the ball off to shorter routes. He has no problem throwing the ball wherever he wants to. He's a magician. He really is out there. He just kind of gets the job done always. And then you have he's played one of the best defenses in the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he still put up 378 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is impressive. And yes, the cornerbacks on the Ravens are very good, but you still have Kelsey that you have to deal with, and you have a running back situation that they have no problem dumping the ball off to them. I just expect that even though Mahomes' numbers are going to go down a little bit, and I expect Lamar Jackson's numbers to go down a little bit, I just think that overall, the Chiefs have too much high-powered offense for Lamar Jackson to keep up with. And I have it being a very close game. I do think that the Ravens will win via the spread They're favored. The Chiefs are favored by 5.5 points. Over under is 52. I actually have the game at 30-28 Chiefs. I think that the Chiefs are going to put up some numbers. I don't necessarily think that they're all going to be offensive numbers, though. I do expect Lamar Jackson to throw a pick or fumble and have and put them in great position. So that's my prediction for the Week 1 game. I want to know what anybody else has to think, and then of course I want to know what the Bri Man has to think about this game.
Yeah. So you mentioned early that the Ravens really haven't played anybody yet, which concerns me going into this game, because now they're going into a game where they're playing maybe the second or third best team in the league. It depends on, everybody slots behind the Patriots right now until further notice. Mm-hmm. But what scares me about the Chiefs, what scares me for the Ravens, is that Patrick Mahomes' greatness is really starting to manifest itself on a weekly basis and in a very distinct manner, because he gets so many people involved. Take, for instance, last week, you had a guy in Demarcus Robinson, who nobody had probably heard of Demarcus Robinson going into last week's game until he caught 6 balls for 172 yards and 2 touchdowns. And his fantasy football value went from being owned in like 6% of leagues to now being owned in 70% of leagues. He had a 64 percentage point jump in Yahoo leagues this past week. That's what Patrick Mahomes does for people.
Yeah, he does.
And so this is something that concerns me for the Ravens defense, because although the Ravens defense is good, there's just too many guys to account for. And imagine that this is a team currently that's not even playing with Tyreek Hill. And yet it doesn't seem to matter. It's almost Patriot-like in a way, where Brady can lose guys, but it doesn't matter because the quarterback is so great that whoever he throws to or whoever's on that field, he's going to make better. That's what Patrick Mahomes is. And right now, I mean, it's early, but Patrick Mahomes has to be your odds-on favorite to repeat as MVP, or at least he should be.
Oh, God.
I mean, the numbers are already obscene, and, granted, competition has been so-so. I mean, the Raiders are not a good team, but listen, the Raiders got up early 10-0. I was actually watching that game last week. Raiders got up early 10-0, and the Chiefs were just like, whatever. And they just went bonkers. I mean, they went nuts. And Mahomes was throwing deep balls all over the place. Now, I will grant you that the Ravens are a better team defensively, and they're also a better team offensively, too. The Ravens are actually a very nicely balanced team on offense. They can run the ball, power run the ball with Mark Ingram. But then they've got some threat. Mark Andrews is really looking to be a good tight end. And you got to like Hollywood Brown, even though he's kind of used in limited sets. He's a huge deep threat for them. All this being said, I just in Kansas City, I don't love this matchup for the Chiefs. I mean, for the Ravens this weekend, I really don't. I've got a bad feeling that this is going to be kind of an ugly game. I feel like everything that you've seen Lamar Jackson be able to do in the first couple weeks, and I don't like saying this, by the way, because he's my starting quarterback in my fantasy football, one of my fantasy football leagues. So, but I don't think this is going to be as good a week for him. I think it's going to be a bit of a down week, and I've actually got this at. I don't have the teams combined covering the overall point spread because I have it 30-19, Kansas City at home. Lots of Patrick Mahomes, probably at least another 3 touchdowns. Yeah,
okay.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be pretty ugly.
When you say it, I have to write it down. So that's what I was doing. I was like putting all the numbers in.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right. So now let's get into the second game, which is like I said,
the game of the week.
No.
I keep doing it.
Second game of the week is a 4:00 game. And that is the Texans versus the Chargers. And the Chargers are at, I'll put in quotations, home. They are at home. The Chargers are 3-point favorites. This is a Texan team that still, even with the Clowney gone, still has a great pass rush. One of the best wide receivers on offense, and also a super talented quarterback. Their running back situation is not as, I mean, I wouldn't say it was great to begin with Lamar Miller, but backup running back Carlos Hyde who I have going in
Duke
fantasy.
Johnson.
What's that?
And Duke Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, Carlos Hyde is the one
Carlos
that-
seems to have taken over.
He does. He seems like last week they kind of let him go with it a little bit
It
more.
seems that way.
And I have him going in fantasy this week, so he's going to get hurt in the first half. So that'll be that.
Correct.
And I just think that between that and even though the Chargers are coming off a tough loss last week, that they actually should have won. I think Rivers is going to be pissed. I don't like the situation for the Texans, even though I think the Texans are a more talented team. I just don't like this timing of it all. I do like I like the backfield for the Chargers slightly better than I do the backfield for the Texans. The Chargers defense is decent too. They always seem to hold teams under 30 points. And they keep games close and they always have a chance to win. And when you have a chance to win, you have a quarterback like Phillip Rivers, who is more, he's a veteran. He just knows how to get the job done. And I think that with Phillip Rivers being a little angry about last week's game and them not winning because of missing a bunch of field goals, I think that they're going to come through. They're going to win this game. I think it's going to be another close one because they always play close games. I think the Texans, they typically play a lot of close games too, and they're usually more high scoring. I actually have this game, the Texans scoring 24 to the Chargers bringing home 27. So I have another one where I had the Ravens winning but with the spread. I have this week, I have the Chargers winning, but basically not covering the spread. It's going to be a tie via the spread because they only get 3 points. But I have 27-24.
That's funny.
Why is that funny?
Because I have the Chargers winning 26-24.
But you have the Chargers. You actually have the Texans winning via the spread.
Well, via the spread, yes. Yeah. But I have the Chargers winning 26-24. I actually think this game is. I like these two teams. To me, are somewhat similar. Certainly similar in terms of what they can both do offensively. Although at this point, the way Austin Eckler has played early on, you kind of have to like the backfield advantage a little bit more for San Diego. I'm still a little bit uneasy when it comes to the Texans run game. Carlos Hyde is a serviceable running back. Duke Johnson is a serviceable running back. Austin Eckler, despite the fact that he was a backup to Melvin Gordon, I think most people thought and knew he would thrive actually in this offense if Gordon was out.
And Jackson too is he's a good.
And Justin Jackson's a very nice
well.
backup. Yeah, that's a nice tandem they have going on there. I actually have this game being another heartbreaker for the Texans. If you recall in week 1, which I still think was the game of the year, Texans and Saints in New Orleans. So far, that's the game of the year, in my opinion.
With Lutz?
I think this is going to be very similar. I think it's going to be similar in terms of heartbreak for the Texans because I think they're going to be up in this one.
The kicker's going to have redemption this week?
And I think it's going to be a last-second field goal. I think Rivers moves them down the field within the last couple of minutes to get them in position to kick a game-winning field goal. They're going to be down. They're going to be down 24. They're going to be down 24-23, and then they're going to hit a walk-off field goal 26-24 as time expires.
That'll be exciting, especially at home. At home.
Yeah, right. At home for now.
Yeah.
All right. Whatever you call that place.
All right, I like that. So, again, if you guys, who do you guys think are going to win the Texans at Chargers? Who do you think are going to win the Ravens at Chiefs? Put it in the comment section below. We'll definitely get to it. If you have anything positive to say or negative to say, we will throw it in the comments on the screen. All right, now let's get into the third game. Go ahead. Do you want to say it this time?
Yeah, sure. The game of the week.
No, that's not what I wanted to do, you stupid dingus. Blew it. Chris blew it.
Well, so far you and I have both picked the same games.
I know.
Well, winners. So maybe I don't know if I'm going to help you out here or not. Maybe I will because I actually think the Rams are going to win on the road this week. I guess not. I have to tell you, so far through 2 games, I am not impressed with the Browns at all. I mean, first of all, they just complete dud.
And this is why we have to start picking each other games, so this way I have a chance.
Right. Well, I mean, at least listen. At least I went first, and it's not like I took the same team you did. But listen, I just the Browns to me just, and listen, I still think that this will work itself out because the Browns just have too much talent not to win this division, in my opinion. I mean, there's just too much talent. And also, nobody seems to be separating themselves in this division, let's be honest. The Steelers are a Mason Rudolph team now, and the Colts are without Andrew Luck, and the Titans are the Titans. So, I just... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I mixed up divisions there, didn't I? Yeah, I put the Titans in the AFC North. I think I just did that. Yeah, that is not correct. Yeah, that's not right. But the Browns, it's the Bengals, and the Bengals are pleased. The Bengals are
great.
A team. The Bengals are a team, one of those teams that worries me.
Lots of offensive numbers.
Yeah, they're one of those teams that worries me. But
it's
batting
crazy.
The Dolphins.
Andy Dalton threw up like 350 yards last week, but like they still only scored like 10 points.
No, I mean, right. They're one of those teams that just like spins their wheels. Yeah. There's a whole lot of smoke and a lot going on, but there's really nothing significant happening. I just don't like the way the Browns have played these first couple weeks, and I don't like this particular team coming into town to take them on at this time. Even though the Rams haven't looked stellar by any means, especially on defense, I'm just worried. The Browns went into New York last week, and yeah, they won, and they won, relatively big. But let's be honest, they did not look good in that game.
And they really shouldn't have won.
Trash.
They should have won by a lot more.
They should have won by 30.
Yeah.
They looked look who you were going. Trevor Siemian, whose ankle actually broke in the game, and then he had to deal with Luke Falk. I mean, come on, Browns. Like, you have to pull yourselves together a little bit here. This is not a good start to the season, especially with the expectations that this team had going in. Baker has looked kind of flat. Odell had a nice, Odell played well last week, actually. And he had that great catch.
Yeah, the one-hander.
But I'm not feeling the Browns yet. I still think they're going to win this division.
There can only be one-hander.
I mean, again, when you look around the division, okay, and you see the likes of the Bengals and you see the likes of the Steelers, who just don't seem to. It's just not a good situation right now. To me, this division is there for the taking. But at the same time, this particular matchup for them, I don't like it. Bad timing. I got a feeling that Goff and company are going to come in. I think you started to see Gurley maybe snap out of whatever he's been going through from the end of last year.
Last year.
I know, but you still wonder if he was hurt a little bit going into this year because he didn't look great in week 1.
Well, they didn't really use him that well.
No, and
they said they were going to try and change it up and like use him a little bit less, and they did, especially on the goal line, which stinks for a lot of fantasy owners.
I have this. This is going to be one of those games where I think you're going to hear a lot of boo birds in Cleveland. I think the dog pound is going to be barking and for not good reasons. I think they're going to be pissed. I think this is going to be one of those games where like the Browns get booed coming off the field at halftime and at the end of the game because I just have a feeling the Rams are going to run roughshod on them.
Wow!
And really? I've got this one 28-17.
28-17. Okay.
Rams.
All right.
In the pound.
My pen stopped working right in the middle of your sentence there. So.
Big trouble.
Throw that out.
Trouble.
Right, let's get into this. All right. I too have the Rams winning this game, and they are 3-point favorites, and they are in Cleveland.
They're going to cover that.
What?
They're going to cover that.
Oh yeah. So we have. Well, I have them barely covering, kind of, sort of. So I have it being a much closer game. I think that when it comes down to it, you look at the two sides. You have at quarterback, you have Jared Goff, and you have Baker Mayfield. And I think Goff is a more consistent and more proven. He has a more proven track record, and plus no real injuries that are happening right now that have been lingering. Whereas you have Baker, whose only consistency is his inconsistency. So he's consistently inconsistent. And I don't know if it's his wrist or what that was bothering him after week 1, but he has been very inconsistent with his throws. I do like how Freddie Kitchens said that he was going to get the ball out of his hands quicker, which is good for me in most cases because I have Jarvis Landry, and that will typically mean, doing something that Jarvis Landry excels at, which is catching those 5 to 7 yard passes, taking them for 7 to 10 yards and, just catching about a dozen of those. So I think that that's going to be good for a lot of fantasy owners of Jarvis Landry, but I don't think it's going to be great for this team for this game. You also have on the other side of it, you have the two head coaches. You have Kitchens versus McVay, and McVay is a proven guy with his players, with his play calling, and he went. I can't say he even went head to head with Bill Belichick because he really changed his whole game plan. And then when he had to change his game plan back to, or whatever he was going to do, he couldn't really get it done against Belichick. But Belichick, arguably speaking, is the best head coach in football. He's won tons of championships. So there is a lot of stuff going on there. But McVay has proven that he can go head to head with any of these great coaches and manage the game to give himself the best chance of winning as possible. And, obviously with their record last year, obviously starting off 2-0 this year is great. You also, on the defensive side, have two of the greatest pass rushers that you have in the game right now with Donald and you have Myles Garrett. You have those two guys going head-to-head against each other in a primetime game. I'm really anxious to see if Garrett can do what he did. I think it was on Monday night where he just manhandled people. And then I want to see if, he really excels in the prime time. And I want to see if he does it again. And I want to see if Donald wants to come over there and just take care of business as well and show him that he's not ready to give up that mantle of being the sack king. So I'm really intrigued to see how that matchup on defense as well plays out. And I do think the secondary of the Rams is, granted, they do give up some big plays, but they are better than I believe the Browns secondary. So I have this game basically coming down to a field goal at the end. I have it being the Rams are going to win 28-25, and the only reason why I made it that close is because the Browns are at home. There is a 3-point spread. I think the over/under is 47.5, so I have them cover. I am definitely going over that. But I'll be interested to see how the offensive line of the Browns does against Donald and the Rams, and then how the offensive line of the Rams, which I have a feeling they are going to, and the guy that's going to be on Garrett, I can't remember his name, he's one of the best in the league, but it's tough when you're one of the best in the league on the offensive line going against one of the best pass rushers in the league, because those guys are going to get to the quarterback. They're going to they're going to disrupt the quarterback. Just depends how much and what the game plan is to get them away from that. So I'll be interested to see how they try and get away from Garrett. 28-25.
Okay.
We both have Rams winning, but you have the Rams killing them. So
I do. Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But no matter what, not gaining any ground this week. All right, so that's pretty much it for that. But now, before we head into the second segment, which the second part, we're going to be doing our how is this actually and how is this only, which is a movie segment
Yes.
or TV or kind of anything along those. Why is this rated where it is on Rotten Tomatoes? And we are going to kind of give our surprises, like what? This is rated only what? How is this rated this high? All that kind of stuff. And we're going to be doing that. Me and Bri Man each have a movie that we're going to talk about. If you have any movies that you're shocked that are high or low on Rotten Tomatoes, like for instance, you think that Man of Steel is ranked way too low, or you think Justice League is ranked, or Batman vs. Superman is ranked way too low and should be much higher, or whatever, and you have a reasoning for it, put it in the comments and we'll put it in there in our next segment. All right, so now let's get into something the Bri Man wants to talk about. Gonna get a little heated, possibly.
Earmuffs time, people.
Earmuffs, definitely. I'm gonna take the music off here.
There you go.
Because I want the Bri Man's voice to ring true. I'm gonna put here it in hashtag earmuffs.
Earmuffs.
I'm putting it on the screen right now.
Okay.
So this way,
I appreciate that.
Oh wait, no. You know what? I'm going to do this. the Bri Man Rants. Hashtag earmuffs.
Yeah.
There we go. Now I'm going to put it on the screen.
So this week's rant is directed at you, the national media. There's a number of individuals here. Rich Eisen, Mike Greenberg, Dominique Foxworth, who I literally had not heard of until this week. Louis Riddick, who also appears on ESPN. Dominique Foxworth, was on that ridiculous Get Up show that ESPN does with Greenberg. And there's also just been a lot of national media attention right now about the Dolphins tanking, about their strategy to rebuild by completely imploding this thing and, trying to get the number one draft pick. Listen, we all know what the Miami Dolphins are trying to do here, right? They are trying to tank for Tua. It's the world's worst kept secret, okay? We all know that's what's going on. But for some reason, the national media has a major problem with this. Dominique Foxworth and Mike Greenberg basically went together to say that this is unethical, what the Dolphins are doing, that they are putting players, because the quality of their players is not very good, they are putting human beings in harm's way. Okay, so for starters, this is fucking football. It's professional football. Guys get hurt. Actually, if anything, you might say that the Dolphins are providing some of these players with opportunities to play that they may not have ever had. You know what you're getting into when you play professional football, when you step on a field. So you're going to go and say, oh, this is unethical because the Dolphins are putting guys who are not qualified to play football in harm's way. If these guys aren't qualified to play football, then they shouldn't even be trying out. They shouldn't be on practice squads. They shouldn't be anywhere near a football field. But this is unethical? The Dolphins tanking for a draft pick is unethical. Okay. Where to even begin with this? I'll tell you what, let's work our way from the outside in, okay? Outside of football, tanking this is not a strategy that has not been employed before. How about perhaps the most well-known tank of all time, the Philadelphia 76ers, who not only tanked, but they came up with a marketing slogan for it. They called it Trust the Process. And you know what that process was? Their fans all knew what it was. My brother is a Sixers fan. He knew exactly what that process was. It means we're going to suck to get low draft picks so that we have more lottery balls spinning around in that thing than other teams. And so we have a chance to get a number one pick. Now, has it paid off for the Sixers? Yes and no. They have not won a championship. Are they a significantly better team and a perennial powerhouse in the Eastern Conference in the NBA? Yes, they are. So to that extent, it has worked. In baseball, for 3 consecutive years, the Houston Astros, who are now, in my opinion, unequivocally the best team in baseball and unequivocally the World Series favorite going into this postseason, they had like 3 consecutive 50-win seasons. Nobody called that tanking. Well, what were they doing? What were they doing if they weren't tanking? They weren't bringing in high-priced free agents. If they weren't cultivating their farm system. They were tanking to get low draft picks so that in a few years, because in Major League Baseball it takes longer, that's one of the other things too. Something like sports like baseball, you have significant advantage in because nobody will say you're tanking because they'll be like, oh, you just suck for a few years. But let's be honest. What did the Astros actually do there? The Astros were a 50-win team for 3 years. Then they got guys like Springer. Then they got Altuve. Then they got Bregman, Carlos Correa. And then they went and they supplemented and they got guys like Justin Verlander and they became World Series champions. And now they're going to do it again this year. Mark my words, that team's going to win the World Series this year. But that team tanked. 50 wins for 3 seasons. That is horrendous. Can you imagine the backlash in New York if the Yankees pulled that kind of shit? Oh, my God. Now let's move it in. Let's talk football. So the Dolphins, who by the way, only lost 2 games this year. We haven't even, if you want to wait till like the midway point of the season before you start with this rhetoric. And the reason I'm bringing this up too is because it's gotten so bad that now the NFL is considering investigating the Dolphins for tanking. First of all, nothing better come of that, and nothing will come of that because, one, you have to prove it, and there's no way to prove it. There's literally no way to prove that the Dolphins are doing this. You just can't do it. There's absolutely, positively no way. It would be a judgment call, and it would be a guess at best. Nobody on this team, the Dolphins and their coaching and their upper management are not saying, yeah, we're tanking. Nobody's using that word. That's a fan word. That's a media word. Here's my question to guys like Mike Greenberg and Rich Eisen and Louis Riddick and Dominique Foxworth. Where were you motherfuckers when the Cleveland Browns were going 1-31? Where was the outrage then? Where was the outrage when the Detroit Lions went 0-16? Where was the outrage then? Where were you guys then? Were the Lions putting men on the field that you're putting them in harm's way that you thought could get injured? What about the Browns? 1-31 over 2 years. That team won 1 game in 2 years. Where was the outrage then? Everyone thought, oh, this is a good strategy. Suck. Get your quarterback. Where was the outrage when the Indianapolis Colts and about a handful, 5 or 6 other teams were sucking for luck? When everybody was going through the suck for luck campaign. Where was the outrage then? Oh, but now because the Miami Dolphins are doing it? That's why we have outrage now? Because the Miami Dolphins, who have been nothing but mediocre for the past 20 years since Dan Marino left. Now there's outrage. Now you have national media outrage because the Dolphins are doing it. Oh, God forbid the Dolphins do. God forbid that the Miami Dolphins actually employ this strategy and it might actually work. You don't want to know what's happening. Media, and I think maybe even the NFL, they are very concerned that if this strategy works for the Dolphins, that they're going to have a full-blown 5-alarm fire on their hands because then every team is going to start to do. Every team who's in that 6-10, 7-9, 8-8 range, they're going to say, you know what? This worked for the Dolphins. They went and got Tua Tagovailoa. Now we need to go do this so we can get our Trevor Lawrence or whatever. That's really what's going on here. There was a tweet from a fellow Miami Dolphin who I follow and who I think follows me. He said, and I thought this was astutely put.
I'm good. I got it on the screen.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Don't let these idiots at ESPN Greeny and at Rich Eisen fool you. They're both huge New York Jets fans and are absolutely fuming because their franchise is an absolute fucking mess, and the Miami Dolphins are in position for long-term success and have a GM who is killing it with trades. I might have some thoughts about the GM killing it with trades. I will say that I didn't love trading Laramie Tunsil, and I certainly didn't love trading Minkah Fitzpatrick. Do I like what they got in return? Yes. Hard to argue. The Dolphins have 3 first-round picks in this upcoming draft. 2 of them have a chance, very good chance, to be top 10 picks because the Steelers are 0-2 and are now Mason Rudolph-led, and who knows. And the Texans, who knows? I mean, it's really hard to say with the Texans right now. But let's put it this way. There is a chance that the Dolphins will have 3 picks in the top 20 in this upcoming draft. And that pisses the NFL off. But here's my other problem. The use of the word unethical. Unethical. Okay. So right now, in the National Football League, you have a team like the New England Patriots, who for the past 18 years has been cheating, lying. They employ murderers. They employ rapists. Okay? The Baltimore Ravens had a murderer named Ray Lewis on their team. Okay? Mm-hmm. The Kansas City Chiefs just gave an extension to a guy who has essentially it's been confirmed that he beat his kid in Tyreek Hill. Ray Rice would still have a career if he didn't beat a woman and drag her into an elevator on camera. If it was just a description and there was no video footage, and he wasn't in his 30s, he'd still be in the NFL. Kareem Hunt, oh my God. The Chiefs did the right thing cutting him, and he was also on video. But he's in his 20s, he's a stud running back, and the Cleveland Browns wasted no time in picking him up. Mm-hmm. Antonio Brown, even just yesterday, he has been accused by 2 women now of rape. Not 1, 2. And although he is definitely innocent until proven guilty, let's just say this is not a great optic for him or the Patriots, who still claim, by the way, that we had no knowledge of any of these allegations.
There's information coming out too about Antonio Brown, about how he sent
text messages to the accuser.
Yeah, after the fact.
Just recently. But the Miami Dolphins are unethical because they're going to lose a few more games this year than usual and try and set themselves up to get the number 1 pick. I don't even know. How about this one? Here's another one. Oh, no, I got more. How about this one? The other day, Raekwon McMillan, a middle linebacker for the Miami Dolphins.
This is what I was hoping you were going to talk about.
Said he was warned by the referees to, quote-unquote, stay off Tom. When after Raekwon McMillan had delivered a legal, Legal, a legal hit in the game to Tom Brady, and the referees say, stay off Tom. I'm sorry, but there is no way Raekwon McMillan is lying about that. There's no fucking way. If you know anything about these referees and the NFL, you know that shit happened. It's been a running joke for the past decade about NFL referees protecting the Patriots and protecting Tom Brady. It's no wonder the guy's 42 years old and still upright and barely has a ding on him. He can't be touched. He's like the opposite of whatever Santiago was in A Few Good Men. If Santiago was not to be touched. But here we are. It's unbelievable. It is absolutely unfathomable to me that you have national media pushing this narrative that the Dolphins are unethical to the point where now the NFL feels they may have to investigate it. Are you fucking kidding me? Teams employing murderers and rapists and cheaters and liars and domestic abusers, but the Miami Dolphins, who just want to lose some games to get their quarterback, that's unethical? Get the fuck out of here.
Okay. Well, that being said, we're going to take the earmuffs off now.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm going to take them off both screens here.
Okay.
I had them on every screen just in case. And because Bryman has ranted. The rant is over. But we're going to get into one last thing real quick before we sign off and then come back on to talk about how is this actually, how is this only, on Rotten Tomatoes, which is the scoring. How is it so high? How is it so low? We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. We're each going to give one movie. If you guys have a movie, go ahead and put it in the comment section in the next segment, and we will talk about it then. All right, so real quick, before we move on, Jalen Ramsey. I don't want a long talk about this. I just want to know where your thoughts, right off gut feeling. Where does he go?
This is tough because the Jags have made it clear that they want 2 first-round picks.
You know how tough it is for me?
What?
He's going to Kansas City.
Okay.
He's going to go to the Chiefs.
Honestly, that's probably where I was going to say too. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing. Kansas City, of course, their draft picks are going to be low. But
nobody's giving them 2 first-round picks.
Well, the Chiefs might, because
that's what I mean. No team that's going to give them good picks is going to give them 2 first-rounders.
Exactly. So the Chiefs might do it because their first-round picks are not nearly as valuable as any other team.
They're going to be 27. Yeah, it's going to be 27 and like 28 or something like that.
I will agree with you. By the way, I will agree with you on the Chiefs because I think that makes sense, and I do think they'd give their first rounder and next year's first rounder for that. It's a huge. I mean, the guy's in his prime. He's arguably the best cover corner in the league when he's in the right place mentally and physically.
Just is. I mean, he really is the best. I mean,
no, he is. So, and listen, that's a huge position of need for the Chiefs. So why not? The dark horse here, strangely enough, is the Dolphins. Because the Dolphins can actually, remember, the Dolphins are playing with a lot of house money right now. They have 3 first-round picks. The Dolphins could very easily trade away one of their first-round picks, and they could even trade away a second-round pick. Now, keep in mind, a Dolphins second-round pick is basically like a first-round pick because they're going to probably have the number 1 overall pick. So the Dolphins could offer more. And here is the incentive for the Dolphins to do it. There's an incentive, and then there's a reason why you would not want to do it. Here's the incentive. You get Jalen Ramsey. Next thing you know, you have the best cornerback tandem in the league in Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey. It wouldn't even be close. It would not even be close. You would have arguably 2 of, if not the top 2 cover corners in the league. Shut down corners on your boundaries. That's unbelievable. Here's the reason not to do it. Putting Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard together could wreck the tank strategy. The Dolphins could accidentally win a couple of games that we can't have them winning. Nothing. And let me tell you something. Focus in here. Nothing, and I mean nothing, can derail this strategy. Tua Tagovailoa has to be a Miami Dolphin. That's it. Nothing else needs to be said. I like Jalen Ramsey.
Where's Jalen Ramsey going?
He's going to the Chiefs.
All right, me too. That's what I thought. All right.
That's where he's going. Okay. But nothing, and I mean nothing, can derail the tank.
I'd love him if he was on the Bills, but that's not happening. Bills aren't trading them. I mean, Bills have a lot of picks, but they ain't trading nobody.
Nothing.
Clint says, "Oh, you have Tre'Davious White, who is he's very, very talented. And imagine having Jalen Ramsey and White.
Be a nice pack, yeah.
That'd be tremendous. Nobody would.
I'll tell you what, man.
Nobody would throw on them.
I forgot who are the Browns. The Bills. Bills are playing. I think they've got a very winnable game. Yeah, they're going to be 3-0, man. I tell you what, man.
They have to be because next week they play the Patriots. So
I tell you what, man. I like the Bills' chances this week. Go 3-0.
They have to if they want to have a real legit chance to keep momentum going forward. They can't let the Bengals sneak in and get a win here. And I'm not sure of Singletary's status, but I mean. They've been playing well. They've been really doing well in the second half. So I'm really hoping that they just keep the pedal to the floor, keep it going. Frank Gore, I hope he gets 20-something carries, just really runs down the clock. They get in a nice early lead, and the Bengals just be the Bengals.
I really like the Bills' chances to be 3-0 after this week, which
I hope so.
Great. I mean, listen. Anything that anyone could do to put just a little bit of pressure on the Patriots is good. Make the Patriots also have to.
And then they got to play the Pats the next week, and that's going to be a game we're going to really figure out where we are.
Where is that game? Is that game in New England? Is that game in Foxborough? I think it's in Foxborough.
I think it is. I can tell you in 1 second. So if my computer will load, there it is.
And you know what's going to happen in that game? The same thing that happened to the Dolphins last year when the Dolphins.
Wait. They don't. Oh, yeah, here it is. They're playing in Buffalo.
Oh, is it Buffalo? Okay.
Yeah.
So this so incredibly reminds me, though, of last year because the Dolphins started off 3-0, went to New England, and got neutered.
And then you just kind of – you're like, we're not really good.
Right, whatever. And then it did essentially fall apart from there.
Yeah, and then you have a couple of weeks where you have to kind of rebuild your confidence, and then you have to play the Patriots again. Right,
and then they're going to knock you down another peg. But what they do,
and then they won't even just beat you; they'll beat you by 60.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they'll demoralize.
Yeah, they don't care. All right, so let's get out of here. We're going to be right back with our How Is This Actually? How Is This Only? In just a few seconds, and then we only have about a 10-minute segment tops with that one, and then we're done. All right, so we will be back in about 2 minutes. Follow us. Click that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever we go live. Hit the subscribe button, all that kind of stuff. Give us a thumbs up. Appreciate it. Thank you. We'll see you back here in a few seconds.